nope. He said he'll be back.
I think he said his audio isn't working.
Oh. Well, we're loading. We're going live eventually. Dang, I definitely clicked it prematurely, but I'm muting myself now. You guys can. We're now live.
You're not going to say that I'm racist, but I do hate.
All right, so I'll just start by doing the introduction. Hello, one and all, and welcome to WSOU Sports live coverage of the European and Copa America finals upcoming this weekend. I am joined alongside Ryan Johnson and Louis Pascoli. Louis having a little bit of connection issues right now, so we'll get him in just a bit. But Ryan, before we get into it, how are you doing today?
You know, I'm pretty good. My family actually adopted a dog earlier today. Her name's Layla, and she's pretty cute. So, yeah, it was a good day so far, and it should be a better day as we get this show rolling.
Oh, that's awesome, Ryan. What kind of dog is she?
Asking the wrong person right there, Jimmy. Asking the wrong person. But it's a cute dog. Just know that.
Is she a little dog or is she a big dog? Do you know?
I think she's around 20 pounds right now, so she's not too big. We're only expecting her to grow to around 40. But yeah.
That's awesome. And then Louis, can you hear us yet or not yet?
Yep, I can hear you guys.
Awesome. So Louis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I had work and then I drove down to Wildwood. So here I am.
That's awesome. So
I'm in my friend's apartment.
That's awesome. So we're going to jump straight into the coverage because we just have so much to talk about. Two of the biggest tournaments in all of world soccer going on right now, and the finals happen in 2 consecutive days. We're recording this on Friday, July 9th, and then tomorrow, July 10th, we have Copa America's final, and then July 11th at 3 o'clock Eastern time, we have the Euro final. So we're going to start with some Copa America action, and we're going to start with a review of the semifinals. So Brazil and Peru. Brazil won that game 1-0 over Peru, punching their ticket to yet another Copa America final. So, Ryan, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this game? What did you see go down, and what did you like and what did you not like from Brazil?
You know, it really wasn't the most exciting game overall. Brazil, they played really controlled, especially in the first half. That's the part that I really got to watch thoroughly. They were just passing the ball around Peru. It seemed like Peru was just trying to absorb the pressure and get something going on the counterattack. And Brazil's just too quality in defense. You know, they got Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, they got Ederson between the sticks, and they could really switch. Is Allison healthy? I'm not sure if Allison is healthy for.
I know he played earlier in the tournament and he was on the bench this past game, so he might be healthy, but they might have just wanted to go for Ederson for the game against Peru.
All right. I mean, like either way, you've got a quality keeper in net. It's kind of unfair that they have both of them on the same national team. So yeah, Brazil, they just kind of were the more quality side and they showed it. And Neymar had a really nice run. He beat like 3 different defenders from Peru. And yeah, it was I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. Like it really wasn't that much of an entertaining game. Neymar had a great run, showed why he's one of the best players in the world. But other than that, neither side really stuck out to me in any specific way. It was kind of as expected. Brazil just kind of controlling the ball a bit more than Peru, and Peru trying to get something going on the counter.
Yeah, Ryan, you hit everything on the head right there. I don't really have much to say either to this game. It was pretty simple. Brazil outplayed Peru. They had more shots on target. They had more time of possession. Brazil really showed why they deserved to be in the finals of this tournament. And although some might argue that this game wasn't as convincing as it should have been, but to me, it doesn't really matter. If you win by 1 or if you win by 4, I mean, I think in some cases it does matter, but in Brazil's case, they were obviously the better team. So the fact that they didn't put more goals up on the board, I don't think that really should be something that we should take away from that win. But regardless, they went out there, they got the job done, and now they're going to face Argentina in the finals, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
And Louis, a win is a win is a win. No matter.
As Jets fans, we know that, Jimmy.
But we didn't see too many of them last season, Louis.
No, we did not. Nope. This year, though. This year.
Hopefully,
Let's keep it focused on the right football here, guys. Okay,
Okay.
come on now.
yeah, the actual team in green, not the New York Jets. But yeah, you guys hit the nail on the head here. I mean, Brazil, they looked the better side, they looked the polished side. They showed really why they're one of the best teams in the world, and they didn't have exactly everything going against this Peru team, but they were still able to come out there and get the result. And I know the game was played in Brazil, and so they did have a little bit of home field advantage as the entire tournament has been played in Brazil, but. They did show their class, and they really did just run rings around this Peruvian side. And I'm sorry, Ronnie, my favorite Peruvian. It's too bad that your team had to lose in the semifinal. Hopefully they can win tonight, though, and get third place for you. But I wouldn't hold your breath. I mean, Colombia is a good team, too. But I do think that Brazil, they're a very, very good team. They outshot Peru 15-7, and shots on target was 8-2. So that's a huge discrepancy. They weren't in control the entire night. They had the better chances. They had more possession. They pretty much did everything that you need to do in a soccer game to win, and they won. So that's all there is to be said and done about this Brazil versus Peru game. Now moving on to the second semifinal, which was slightly more entertaining between Argentina and Colombia. Very, very good game, very even game. Was 1-1, and then with Copa America, they don't have any extra time until the final. The final, if it is tied after 90 minutes tomorrow, to go into extra time, but every other game after 90 minutes, straight to penalty kicks. But anyway, it was Argentina that progressed 3-2 on penalty kicks to knock out Colombia and progress to the first final in a few years for them. So, Louis, I'll start with you. Give me your reaction to this game between Argentina and Colombia.
You said it right, Jimmy. This was an awesome game. I was working all day. I came home and then I started watching this game and I was like, wow, this is an amazing game. And I turned it on right before I saw, I'm going to forget his name now. But the Colombian player that scored the goal, he made a run past the defense, took on two guys. He was getting shouldered by a defender. And as he was falling, he just kind of kicked it with his toe and he placed it past the keeper. And I was like, wow, that's the goal of the tournament. That's going to be on SportsCenter tomorrow for sure. And then it was 1-1. He tied up the game. There was a huge goal in the game. And even after that, there were still a lot of hard both teams were playing hard. There were a lot of fouls in that game. And there were still chances for both sides, but then it went into penalties. And I got to highlight Martinez, the Argentinian goalkeeper, because he was hyping me up. He was so fired up to be there. He was like talking to himself on the line, like before the guy was going to take the kick. And he made 2 or 3 really, really nice saves. So that was awesome.
Yeah, it really was a great game. Argentina, they came out really strong to start out. They had a couple really good chances. Lautaro Martinez, the other Martinez, he plays for Inter, who Jimmy still claims isn't a big club, but that's a discussion for we'll discuss it sometime. I feel like we've been saying that we'll discuss it forever.
We'll never live this moment down, but we'll have another hot takes episode out for you soon, and me and Ryan will duke it out for a little bit longer.
Yeah. We'll get it on the program sometime, but anyways, he messed up his first opportunity in like inside 3 minutes. He came back. Messi gave him a good pass. I think Giovanni Dos Celso really had a good through ball to Messi, and Messi passed it back to him. Martinez slotted that one home, and from there it was pretty back and forth until Louis mentioned that Luis Diaz goal. Really great run from him. I think it would have been a penalty either way, just because. I don't know if it was Otamendi who was really just bodying him, but he just basically took him down inside the box, and he still found a way to get a goal. So really great effort from him right there. There was one moment, though, Argentina really should have won this game inside the 90 minutes because Lautaro Martinez, again, Di Maria, he got the ball. It was a counterattack. He caught the keeper out of position, got by the keeper, gave a nice pass to Martinez. Martinez took it first time. He had all the time in the world. There's one Colombian defender in the entire net. He had all the time in the world, and he first timed it straight at the Colombian defender. Just not a good shot from him right there. They easily could have taken it within the 90 minutes. Doesn't matter eventually. Martinez, he still got his goal. Argentina obviously still went through. Great saves by Emiliano Martinez, the other Martinez, former gunner. Gotta represent Arsenal a little bit right there. But yeah, no, that was a great game. Really looking forward to seeing this final.
Yeah, and another opportunity that Argentina had to win that game in 90 minutes came toward the end of the game with Lionel Messi. He had an opportunity to be able to win that game for Argentina but he struck the post. It took a little deflection off Yerry Mina, hit the near post, because if it didn't take that little deflection, it probably would have snuck into that near post and they probably would have won that in 90 minutes. And that was the moment for Messi to really show, that he can show up in these semifinals when his country needs him the most and bring them to a final that they needed to. As for the rest of the game, I was really impressed with Argentina for most of it. And they kind of got their monkey off their backs from being poor in penalty kick shootouts over the past Copa Americas. I mean, in 2016, they lost to Chile, and that was a really embarrassing loss. And Messi, who's my favorite player in the world, he had a very, very bad showing in that penalty kick shootout, just blasting a shot over the bar completely. But now we're going to talk about the good of Messi. I think he played brilliantly, and he once again showed that he's the best player in the world. That's a discussion for a different day, if he's the best player in the world or not, but I still think that he is. But the talk of the game was, just like you guys said, Emiliano Martinez. He was just fantastic. He had 3 penalty kick saves, and the trash talk that he was saying to Yerry Mina before he took that free kick, I don't know if you guys heard it, but he was telling him that he knew exactly where he was going to shoot, and he dove the right way. He blocked it like he was a brick wall. I mean, he just played out of his mind in that penalty kick shootout. You never, ever see 3 penalty kicks get saved, and they were not like terrible penalty kicks either. They were solid penalty kicks that a lot of goalies wouldn't be able to save. So he really played out of his skin, and he had a fantastic year for Aston Villa and a really, really great tournament thus far for Argentina. So we'll see if they can do it in the final against Brazil, which once again is tomorrow night. So, Louis, I'll start with you. Brazil, they come into this game as the favorites. Do you think that Brazil is going to be able to pull this off, or you see an upset on the cards and you think Argentina is going to take this game?
Well, there's no chance that Brazil can win this game. I mean, they have arguably the most talented side in the tournament. And for 100%, they are, if on paper at least, but as you know, football is not played on paper, but on paper, they're definitely more talented than Argentina. Yeah, we got to get that trademarked eventually, one of these days. But yeah, so Brazil can win. I think they're definitely capable of winning, but there is also a player on the other side that you can't predict for, you can't game plan for, and his name is Lionel Messi. So, Brazil could play a perfect game and still lose simply because Messi does some Messi-like things and turns the game in Argentina's favor. So I really don't even want to analyze this game, and I just want to sit back and watch. It'll be tomorrow, 8:00. My friends down here want to do stuff. I'm like, no, we have soccer to watch. Like, we're sitting in front of the TV and watching this darn game because it's going to be exciting. So you guys are going to like it. So I think either team could win, really. I mean, at this stage, I don't want to count a team out. And I think what Argentina lacks in talent, in terms of all around talent, as Brazil has more of that, they make up for it in Lionel Messi. So.
Yeah, as much as I love and respect Lionel Messi, he's only one man, and Brazil is more talented than Argentina in literally every single other position. I mean, we literally were just talking like they can literally just rotate goalies. Their defense is much more complete than Argentina's. Their midfield, much more complete than Argentina's. I mean, I guess the only other argument that you could make would be for Angel Di Maria. I'm not sure anyone else on that Argentina squad can really compare to the quality that Brazil has all around. And, they're getting Gabriel Jesus off of a red card coming up for the final. I don't really know what to make of that because he hasn't been incredible at Man City. But who knows? Maybe he'll be like Carmelo Anthony for Team USA and just go crazy for his national team and not do much at the club level. But we'll see. I think Brazil is going to take it. I really hope that Lionel Messi can get his first international major trophy. I think that'd be a great accomplishment for him. We saw Ronaldo do it back in 2016. I think this is Messi's time to do it. Really, I think he's already the greatest soccer player or football player, whatever you want to call it, of all time. But I think this would really cement him in that position if he could do it with, against a really, really quality Brazil squad. They are one of the top teams in the world right now. And if he could beat them with this sort of mediocre, I want to say, Argentina squad, they're just not as complete as they have been in the past. If he could beat Brazil with this squad, I think that would really cement his legacy.
Definitely would, Ryan. And I'm with you. I think Brazil just has too much firepower in every single position. they have some of the best players in the world playing at some of the top clubs in the world. I mean, Argentina's midfield, it's not bad. I mean, they have Lo Celso, Paredes. They have a few guys that aren't bad, but then you look across the way and you look at Brazil's midfield. You look at Casemiro, who I think is arguably the first or second best holding midfielder in the entire world. N'Golo Kante gives him a run for his money, but either way you slice it, he's still one of the top two defensive-minded midfielders in the world. You have Fabinho, a fantastic defensive midfielder as well. You have Lucas Paqueta, who's been absolutely wonderful for Brazil this entire tournament. I mean, he hasn't been fantastic at the club level over the past few years, but every time he puts on that Brazil shirt, he's just looking like a man possessed. He's fantastic. And of course, Neymar, his goal scoring record for Brazil is absolutely insane. I think he's only 2 or 3 goals behind Messi for goal scoring for international level. And Neymar is 4 or 5 years younger than Messi. So it's absolutely absurd. And he doesn't have close to the amount of cap ties as Lionel Messi does. So, I mean, Neymar, he always shows up for Brazil every single time that they play, whether he's putting the ball in the back of the net, whether he's assisting or whether he is, a little bit theatrical, drawing some free kicks, drawing penalty kicks, and able to get his way that way for Brazil. I think that he's going to be absolutely crucial for this Brazil team in the final. But I do think that Brazil playing at home, playing with a better squad, playing with a better goalie, maybe not the best player on the field, but after you get past Lionel Messi as the best player on the field, probably the next 6, 7, 8 best players on the field till we get to Emiliano Martinez. And then you can, it's all Brazil from there. So I do think Brazil is going to win this game. I think they're going to win by a 2-goal deficit. I think that Argentina is going to play a little bit defensively, and then they're going to try to hit them on the counter. But Brazil, they're going to be able to score, and they're going to score a late one to cement the game.
I like how you put that, Jimmy, calling it theatrical. I think that makes Neymar sound very noble when he is going in the box and diving.
Yeah, I mean, Neymar, he's quite the player, but sometimes he does get himself into a little bit of theatrics every now and then when he doesn't get his way.
I mean, it is an art to do that kind of stuff. So
it is an art. Not anyone could do that. I mean, if you see you can't see like Mats Hummels or like Jerome Boateng like flopping like that. Imagine if you just saw that like for Germany, him just flopping around, or Harry Maguire just flopping after getting hit by like absolutely nothing. But yeah, Neymar, we'll see what he can do tomorrow. If he brings out the theatrics or if he just plays like he usually does and is able to skill around players, set up Gabriel Jesus, Richarlison, etc., etc. But sticking with Copa America for our final topic of Copa America, there's been a lot of really, really big storylines this year in Copa America. But what's been your biggest takeaway thus far for Copa America 2021? And Ryan, you got the floor.
I think I'm just going to go with how far above Brazil is from the rest of the field in South America, really, because they haven't lost a single game in the competition so far. I fully expect them to go out there and beat Argentina straight up. I think they're going to beat Argentina. They've only drawn one game. I think it was in their last group stage, against Ecuador. And they had already qualified. They didn't even really. It was a throwaway game for them, pretty much. They still drew it 1-1. I think going into next year's World Cup too, which is the World Cup's only next year. Let's not forget about that. I think they should really be one of the top teams in consideration if they win the Copa America, especially because France, they got eliminated in the round of 16. Belgium got eliminated in the quarterfinals. Those are 2 of the top teams from the last year's, or not last year's World Cup, but the last World Cup 2018. I think they should seriously look to try and make a World Cup run next year. I think that they will be one of the top 4 teams in the World Cup in 2022.
And I think it's ironic that you picked Brazil and then talked about Brazil for this prompt, and I picked Argentina, and I'm going to talk about Messi for this prompt. I think that there were a lot of storylines, but I think that for me, it was that at 34 years of age, Messi still got it. He's leading the tournament with 4 goals and leading the tournament with 4 assists. If there were any doubters at is Messi still good? Is he still the player he was? Yeah, he is. He's kind of like Tom Brady. He gets older, but his play, his talent level stays basically the same. This would be huge for him if he could win. This would be really a big storyline if he could win the Copa America. That'd be amazing because then the media would stop talking about how he has yet to win an international tournament, unlike Ronaldo, who has won an international tournament. But yeah, I can't even say surprised to see Messi be top of the leaderboards for both those stats, because he's still Lionel Messi and he's still doing what he does at age 34.
And Louis, I'm right with you. I pretty much wrote down note for note what you did because I'm going with Lionel Messi. And my biggest takeaway is he's still the best player in the world. And I know Lewandowski is really good. I know Mbappe is really good. I know Ronaldo's still very good.
Erling Haaland?
Holland is up there.
Come on now.
Not
Come on.
yet.
He's not.
Not
He's
yet.
not.
Give it 2 years, man. Give it 2 years.
Maybe in 2 years, but come on now.
United.
Listen. Jimmy is older than Erling Haaland. That's all I have to say.
Would have called me out like that.
Yeah, I didn't have to do my guy Jimmy.
Well, that's a testament to how good Haaland is, not to how old Jimmy is.
Hey, I'm only 21, man. Hey, let me live a little bit, Louis. But yeah, I'm gonna stay with on topic here and go with Lionel Messi. Still the best player in the world here at 34 years old. He just turned 34 just a few weeks ago. Actually, it was the end of June. But this calendar year of 2021, just to highlight how good Lionel Messi has been, he has 47 goal contributions, 33 goals and 14 assists for club and country in the calendar year of 2021. And that is miles better than the two next best, which is Lewandowski, who has 38. He has 34 goals and 4 assists, and Mbappe, who has 35 goal contributions playing in Ligue 1 with 29 goals and 6 assists. So he is head and shoulders above everyone else in the world right now. And another thing that I want to bring up is if he wins this tournament right here, just a question for the two of you. Do you think Messi is the leader for the Ballon d'Or? Do you think he's the front runner if he wins this tournament for Argentina?
That's a great question, and he very well might be. I think a large portion of the reason why Luka Modric won the Ballon d'Or a few years ago was because he brought Croatia so far in the World Cup. So Messi doing something internationally definitely will have a say in his Ballon d'Or chances. And I didn't even think about that until you just said it. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to have a big impact on if he wins the Ballon d'Or.
See, my only thing is, Barcelona didn't do a whole lot at the club level this year, and that definitely plays a factor too. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at, some of the other squads. I believe PSG won Liga, but they didn't.
No, they didn't. It was it Nice? I think Nice won it. Yeah, on the final day, Nice won, and they had a 1-point cushion over PSG, and PSG came in second.
Oh, wow. I was going to call it Farmers League, but I guess you can lose the farm sometimes. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad crop season or something like that for PSG. But so I was going to say Neymar if they win it, but I don't know then. I'd have to look at the leagues to see who won. Maybe someone from Man City if England can win it, or I'm not sure now. That's a really good question. But yeah, I think it's going to be close because of how poorly Barcelona did this year. They really underperformed at the club level, but that's a great question.
Barcelona did well. They did win the Copa del Rey this year, but I mean that is the third biggest trophy that's up for grabs for them. I mean, obviously.
Come on, that's like Arsenal winning the FA Cup. Like
exactly. I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say like Leicester won the FA Cup this year, and they came in 5th place when they were in top 4 all year. They kind of had a very Barcelona-like year this year, and Barcelona's in a lot of financial difficulties right now. So maybe it is not Messi's fault that Barcelona, had a very underwhelming season, but nonetheless, they did have an underwhelming season. But I would think that if Messi wins this with Argentina, he'll get a 7th Ballon d'Or this time in January. But we'll see what happens. If tomorrow night goes according to plan, Brazil will shut up that conversation completely, and it'll be someone else on that stage getting that Ballon d'Or. But anyway, Messi, it's all on you, buddy. See what you got. If you can go out there and win tomorrow night, you are obviously the greatest of all time as it is. But if you win tomorrow night, no one can even have a word.
and it might be his last chance to win something major for international.
Oh, 100%. I don't think Argentina has a shot next year at the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. I think that they'll probably get out of the group, but probably not too much further. Maybe round of 16 quarterfinals, just like last time around. They got bounced in the round of 16 against France. So we'll see what happens next year. But as for today, I think Brazil's going to win, and I think that Messi is the biggest takeaway from Copa 2021. But anyway, we're going to move on to the Euro 2020 tournament. And we saw Italy versus Spain as the first of the two semifinals, with Italy taking down Spain after penalty kicks. But before that, it was a very, very back and forth game where Spain looked a little bit better. So, Louis, I'll start with you. What are your biggest takeaways from Spain versus Italy?
Well, I said it when we had the PTVFC episode, and I'll say it now. Italy did not play a bad game. I think I'm going to die on this hill, and I think you guys still disagree with me, but it is what it is. Look, you said Spain played better, but Italy got the win. So that Italy couldn't have played that poorly. Italy played very defensive, as they normally do. They just kind of stood there. They took all of Spain's punches. They got hit to then throw a hook, I'll say, in terms of like if you were to look at that in a boxing way. They were sitting back, they were defending, and then they went on one counterattack. It was 13 seconds from the goalie's hand to when the goal was in the back of the net. And they scored. And then the only goal that they let up in that game was a penalty. So it wasn't like they had a defensive lapse. It wasn't like they didn't stay true to their game plan. It was just unfortunate that they committed a penalty and it was scored against them. And then the game was tied and went into extra time. It was still tied and went into penalties. And penalties is really anybody's game, but Italy did do a good job in penalties and they secured the win. So you have to play. Italy is a defensive team as it is, and you have to play defensive against a team like Spain simply because of how good on the ball they are. And even if you look back at that game, they didn't really have much going on in the final third.
I don't know if I'm remembering it differently, Louis, but I don't think Spain scored a penalty there. I believe Alvaro Morata just slotted one bottom left corner.
Yeah, it was a give and go with, was it Dani Olmo?
Yeah, that sounds right.
You're right. That I got my memory got mixed up. I'm pretty sure that was the Belgium-Italy game. I got a little bit confused, but yes. So okay, I take it back. They did have one mental defensive lapse where they gave up a goal. Continue.
I mean, either way, we're still going to have to disagree because Spain straight up outplayed Italy that game. Like it was not the best showing from Italy. It was not very convincing. I mean, they had a couple of chances. I think Chiesa had a goal that was offsides, or Verratti had a goal that was offsides. I'm not sure exactly who it was.
There were two, though. There were two goals that were ruled offsides for Italy.
I know one was Insigne, and then was it Barella? Might have been Barella is the other one.
Okay. Yeah. So, they definitely had some chances there on the counterattack that if they were just positioned just a little bit differently, they could have scored. But, Spain had a lot of chances that either it was just a bad touch, especially by the one winger.
Oyarzabal?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. He just had a bad game or something because there were so many times he got played through and he just had a bad touch. There was one time, another time it was just he missed the header. It was like the most wide open header of all time, perfect cross. And he just missed it. Like, I think I would have scored that header right there. It was at the 6-yard line. All right. It was the 6-yard line and he just missed it. And it was a goal kick. That was the game right there. Spain would have been in the finals right now if it was not for that missed header. And I mean, obviously you can't put all the blame on him because it is a team effort, but like he had some really, really great opportunities that he fumbled the bag on it straight up. Migos get the bag and flip it and tumble it, and Oyarzabal gets the bag and fumbles it. Okay. He really fumbled the bag right there. And Spain, they had a lot of good chances other than that too. They just couldn't seem to convert. They had some good pressure too. I was surprised. I don't normally see Spain pressuring that high. At least early on, they had some good pressure. But I really think that this was Spain's game to lose, and they ended up losing it. I think Italy was not the better team that game, but it is what it is, and they made it through. They're in the final.
and you got to do what it takes to win, Ryan. And just like we said earlier, a win is a win is a win. They did win that game, but I'm with you a little bit here, Ryan. I don't think they deserved that win at all. I think that Spain, they were on top of Italy. They had their foot on the throat of Italy. They let them go. They weren't able to finish the job. They weren't able to finish their dinner and put that ball in the back of the net that second time. If they do it that second time after they have all of these fantastic chances, I mean, Morata scored their goal, and I'm not the biggest Morata fan in the world, but at least he did his job to a degree. But everyone else, like Danny Olmo had a fantastic shot. Oyarzabal, like you mentioned, I believe he had 2 or 3 big chances to win that game for him, but he just was not able to convert. They all played very well. And what about Pedri as well? The 18-year-old Spanish man from FC Barcelona. He was absolutely fantastic. I believe he misplaced 2 passes in the entire game. And the first one came in the 119th minute or something like that. It's absolutely absurd. He was just all over the pitch, just pinging out balls left, right, and center. He just has a really, really good pace for the game. He knows what he needs to do, how he needs to do it, and where he needs to go. And he was fantastic. He was really influential. And it kind of broke my heart a little bit to see him crying after they lost that game because he just played so well. He poured his heart and soul into that game. But anyway, I do think that Spain, they should be in this tournament. They should be in the tournament final right now, but they aren't. Italy, fair play to them. They were able to capitalize. They were able to be clinical. And goals are what win you games. Italy had it. They were able to convert their biggest opportunity. Spain, not so much. And so that's why we're going to see the Italians in the final, not the Spaniards.
All right, one more thing before we move on. Just for reference, Spain had 71% possession and 5 shots on target. That means Italy had 29% possession with 4 shots on target.
Yeah, but the shots that were off target for Spain, a lot of them were inside.
We're very close. Yeah, I know.
They were within the penalty spot or a little bit closer than that. So,
And I mean, Oyarzabal didn't even get shots on target. He got the ball right in front of net. He didn't even shoot it. So,
yeah, he had a very, very tough 90 plus minutes there against Italy, but maybe he'll refine his finishing for next season with Real Sociedad. But we'll see what happens with Oyarzabal going forward. But anyway, we're going to transition to the second of those semifinal games, and that was England versus Denmark. Now, England won that game 2-1 against Denmark after extra time in Wembley. And England, they looked a little bit of a better side, but Denmark, they did really put up a good fight, especially after everything that happened to them earlier on in the tournament, losing their captain, Christian Eriksen, to a cardiac arrest. Very, very scary scene early on in the tournament, in their first game against Finland. So, Louis, I'll go to you first. Give me some reactions to this England versus Denmark game.
Well, I mean, Denmark was in a great run of form before this game, and they were able to score a goal, which is the first goal that England conceded for the entire tournament. That was awesome for Denmark. I was kind of pulling for them because they were an underdog, but I mean, England just has so much talent at every position on the field, and much like Brazil versus Peru, that's kind of what happened in this game. It was instead of South American teams as European teams, of course, but England just showed that they were a better team, the better squad, and Southgate had an interesting starting 11, but it worked out in the end. So England just showing their dominance, getting ready for this final. And I was not surprised to see them go through and win.
Yeah, like you said, Denmark really put up a great fight. That free kick from Damsgaard, that was a thunderbolt right there. Pickford had no chance at all of saving that. That was a really, really tough shot. And, props to England for coming back down from 1-0, I guess. Obviously not the biggest lead in the world, but you got a lot of pressure on you there. You're in Wembley, you're home fans. A lot of pressure from the English fans right there, especially if you lose to Denmark. That's not the best look right there. And they came back and won. I'd like to shout out Bukayo Saka, because he played really well, honestly. He was the assist to that own goal that Raheem Sterling probably would have scored anyways, but nonetheless, Saka assisted that one. And then, Harry Kane, he did go down in the box around the 70th minute or so, was not called a pen. That definitely should have been a penalty, and that the game went into extra time. And, whether or not that was a penalty, that Harry Kane was was saved actually by Kasper Schmeichel and converted it afterwards. Is up for grabs, but he got it nonetheless. It might have been a makeup call, sort of, because they missed that Harry Kane penalty. And big shout out to Kasper Schmeichel because he played really, really well. He was the reason that Denmark was in this game for so long, and it was a great run by Denmark. And sad to see him go, but England was the better squad, and they do ultimately deserve to be in the final.
And just to highlight your point about Bukayo Saka, I mean, I'm the first one to say that I don't think Arsenal's a great team, but Bukayo Saka, he's really, really played really well for this England team. And they have so much competition in that front three, that front four, where you could be playing Jadon Sancho. I mean, he's getting a lot more minutes than Jadon Sancho is. He's getting more minutes than Jack Grealish is. He's just been playing out of his mind, Bukayo Saka. And it's really nice to see such a young kid like that getting a lot of minutes and playing really, really well in his minutes. He has a really bright future ahead of him, and I'm excited to see what he can do both in London with Arsenal and with England going forward. As for the rest of the game, I think that England, they were the better team. They showed it. They should have won that game in 90 minutes. Like you said, Ryan, the penalty kick should have been called for Harry Kane, but it wasn't. I don't really understand why it wasn't. I guess for penalty kicks, you kind of need a little bit of a bigger foul for it to be actually called, but I never really understood that. If it's going to be a foul outside of the penalty box, why is it not a foul inside the penalty box? It's the same thing that happens, but I guess they just don't want to have too many penalty kicks being called. But anyway, justice was served in the end, and Harry Kane did convert, not from the penalty spot, but as a follow-up from the penalty spot to get the Three Lions into the final. And just to highlight once again, like you said, Ryan, about Kasper Schmeichel, he's been fantastic for Denmark over the past few years. And I'm honestly a little bit surprised that he's still playing with Leicester. I think that he can go on to a bigger club and establish a lot of big things with a bigger club. When Chelsea was moving on from Thibaut Courtois after he went to Real Madrid, I thought that he was going to be the perfect replacement to go to Chelsea because his dad, of course, the great Peter Schmeichel, former Manchester United legend, he really taught him how to play that game really, really well between the sticks. Really good vocal leader. He's really good in the air. He has a good punch on him. He really knows where to be at the right times. And he's also very good at saving penalty kicks, as we saw with that Harry Kane penalty kick. So I do think that Denmark, hats off to them. They did a lot better than everyone thought they were going to do. But ultimately, it was a little bit too little, too late for them, and they weren't able to win the game and progress to the final. But anyway, we are going to go on to the preview of England and Italy to see who is actually going to win this game. Now, Louis, I'll start with you. Do you think that it's coming home, or do you think that the Italian fans are going to be singing "It's Coming to Rome" at the end of 90 minutes?
I'm so happy you said it's coming to Rome. It's my new, other than maybe football is not played on paper, that's my new favorite saying relating to football. Wow. Another game I do not want to analyze.
Well, it looks like Louis lost connection here for just a few moments. So we'll go on to you, Ryan, for your prediction first. Let's hear what you have to say about England and Italy, see what you got to say about it.
Oh, man. Louis leaving me in anticipation here. But no, I do think it's coming home, actually. I think football's coming home. I think England is going to take this one. They haven't had the best history of finishing in finals in recent memory, at least. But I think that this is their year. They're a much more versatile squad than Italy is. We mentioned their attacking. You can throw so many different guys up there at any given time, and none of them are Oyarzabal. Sorry, I think Harry Kane, if he gets the chances that Oyarzabal did, I know I'm kind of harping on this dude right now, and I feel bad, but I don't really feel bad because he really lost the game for Spain. And if you gave Harry Kane the chances that Oyarzabal got, Spain would be in the final right now. If Harry Kane was on Spain instead of Oyarzabal, they would be in the final right now, straight up. And I don't know. I think Italy just looked a bit vulnerable against Spain. And, England is a quality squad. I think they're the most talented team out of the two, at least. And in the Final Four, I think they were the most talented team there. So I think Gareth Southgate is going to find a way for football to come home for the first time in a long time.
I do have to agree with you on some of those points, Ryan. And I do think that Spain really laid the blueprint on how to beat this Italian side. They just weren't able to do it. You just need to play more attacking, you need to have possession. And they did one thing that Harry Kane does extremely, extremely well. And he showed it this year for Tottenham. And that's have your striker come a little bit deeper and be able to ping a ball forward to your wingers, to your midfielders that are making these runs. And we saw Harry Kane, he was not only the top scorer in the Premier League this year, but also the top assister. I believe.
Yeah, he did that to Son so many different times because Son is so pacey on that wing.
Yeah, and I could see Raheem Sterling potentially being his partner for England and him picking balls forward to Raheem Sterling to either finish himself or find a late run, maybe be a Mason Mount, maybe a Phil Foden, a Saka, someone like that that's coming in and can tap it in. But I do think that if you're able to do what Harry Kane does best, and that's come short, play balls forward, you're going to have this Italian team really on their back foot, and they're not really going to know what's going on next. I think that England, if they are to win, they're going to need to play a lot more attacking than they have this tournament. I don't think you can play both Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice in the midfield because as good as they've played, they're not going to ping out that really good through ball that you need to break down this Italian defense. You're going to need someone like Jack Grealish in the midfield, or maybe I would say a Jordan Henderson as well. I would play Henderson and Jack Grealish alongside Mason Mount in that midfield. I think that those three are really needed because Jordan Henderson, really, really good on the ball and off the ball. He's just got such a great work rate. Mason Mount, same thing, except he's a better finisher than Jordan Henderson. And then Jack Grealish is just fantastic at pretty much everything you need from a midfielder. He's a really good dribbler. He's got great vision. He's a great shooter, great passer. And he is the most fouled player in the Premier League this year. And he missed so much time as well. So he's going to be able to get fouled. He's going to be able to get the English in good positions from free kicks. And we know that the English have some pretty good free kick takers as well as a few very good players to be on the end of free kicks. So Harry Kane, another great player with his head. Harry Maguire, great with his head. John Stones as well. And I mean, we saw that Kieran Trippier goal against Croatia from a few years ago, so we know how good of a free kick taker he is. So they really do have the quality and the blueprint in front of them to win this game. Now, will they win this game? I think Italy is just going to find a way to be able to win this game. I think that they have a better coach, and I think they have a better scheme. And I do think that if this game, even though it's played in Wembley, I think that a lot of Italian support is going to be there. I think that Italy is going to show out. I think they're going to be playing very, very well as they have all tournament. They've looked the best in the tournament thus far. And I think that it'll be coming to Rome. And we actually have Louis here once again. So, Louis, we didn't get to hear much of what you said during your time talking about Italy versus England. So if you wouldn't mind just starting your point from the beginning again, you have the floor now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think the Wi-Fi here cut out for a second, but happy to be back now. You guys can't get rid of me that easily. But yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen in this game, because I think if you're England, Southgate can either continue to play with a defensive starting 11 as he's been, or he could realize that he's going against a team that's almost as defensive as England, if not more, and then take some chances. He could start Foden or Grealish, whoever he wants to in the midfield, and maybe push his wingbacks up the pitch more and try to play more offensive than he would normally, or he could stick to his normal defensive topic. So we'll see what he does. But this game is much like the other final game where I don't even want to analyze it or talk about it. I just want to sit back and watch it. But I am excited. And because I'm half Italian, I'm going to say it's coming to Rome.
And as a fellow half Italian here, Louis, I agree with you. I think it's coming to Rome. My mom's side of the family is all Italian. But yeah, I think that Italy is going to be able to take this home. But anyway, wrapping up a little bit of Euro 2020, not the last topic that we're going to discuss, but the second to last that we're going to discuss on today's show. Who do you think has been the best player of Euro 2020? Who's going to go home from this tournament and be elected as the best player? And Louis, you can go first.
All right. Hopefully my Wi-Fi works this time. I think for me, the best player of the tournament has to be Harry Kane. He's in terms of goal scorers, he's like really the only top goal scorer that's left in the tournament with 4. I think he'll score another one against Italy. And if England wins the tournament, Harry Kane is a large portion of why they'd be winning. He's not the only reason, but he's a large reason of why they'd be winning. And I think it has to be Harry Kane in that case.
Yeah, if England wins, I'm going to have to agree with you. Well, I guess assuming England wins because, I said it's coming home, so I can't backtrack now. But if Italy does somehow squeeze it out, I might have to go with Marco Verratti, actually. I think he's been really pivotal for them in the midfield. I think he has something like the most tackles won out of the entire tournament or something like that. And he's been really key for them getting counterattacks going. But it's kind of hard to choose or single out any one player from that Italy team because they are really a great unit. They play really well together, and it's not like Portugal with Ronaldo. He had 5 goals in 4 games for them or something like that. So they were basically relying on him the entire tournament. I don't think it should go to Ronaldo just because they didn't make it very far. I don't think it's fair to give it to someone who was bounced in the round of 16, but yeah, I might have to go with Marco Verratti, or if England wins, Harry Kane is definitely a good shout.
Yeah, and that was a really good point you made, Ryan, about how Italy plays really well as a team, and it's kind of hard to single a player out. They're almost like kind of like the Miami Heat in basketball, how they have such a great system. They don't really they have a few like star players, like how Jimmy Butler's a star player of the Heat, but they also have a bunch of players that really do their role. Like with the Heat, you have, of course, Bam Adebayo, you have Duncan Robinson, you have Tyler Hero, all these guys. With Italy, your star player, probably Ciro Immobile, and then they have other really, really good players like Marco Verratti and Insigne. Chiesa's been fantastic. Of course, Donnarumma has been great as well. So they've had a lot of really good contributions from everyone. So for that reason alone, I can't really pick an Italian to pick as the best player in the tournament. And Louis said Harry Kane. I'm going to go with the other Harry. I'm going to go with Harry Maguire. And I know I'm a little bit of a homer, but I think that since he's come back from this England team, after he got hurt with Manchester United, this defensive team for England has been absolutely incredible. I mean, he even has a goal to his name. He only allowed 1 goal so far this tournament, and that was off of a free kick, which as a defender, you can't do anything about a free kick. I mean, unless you're the one that commits the foul, you're at no fault for allowing the free kick. So he pretty much has a clean sheet the entire tournament. Ever since he's been in there, he's shored up everything. He's really good in the air, both defensively and offensively. I mean, he gets a lot of unnecessary hate, which I don't really understand. But I think that he is shutting up a lot of his haters right now with the performances that he's putting up and he's putting on for this 3 Lions team. I know we probably won't win it because he's a defender, and defenders really don't win anything in the world of football. But I think he's been the best defender without a doubt in this tournament. And I think that if I had a vote, I'd give it to him to be the player of the tournament. I just think that everything he's done, he's just so sound as a defender. And of course, he's a Red Devil. Love my Red Devils. Got to give it to him. But anyway, we're going to move on to our last topic of today's show. And that is, what was your best moment of Euro 2020? Whether it be a game, a moment, a goal, anything. Ryan, you can start us off. What was your favorite thing? What was the best thing to happen here at Euro 2020?
I think I'm going to go with Denmark's run. Obviously they started out the tournament in such a horrific way. We've talked about Christian Eriksen having cardiac arrest, and he's their captain. He's their best player realistically. And for them to make it so far as the semifinals without their leader is so extraordinarily impressive to me. I think a lot of the credit has to go to Kasper Schmeichel because he was really just so quality in between the sticks for them for, most of the tournament, really. I don't think you can really fault him for most of the goals that they conceded. But, also just players like Braithwaite or Hosberg, a bunch of really, quality players, but not one. This isn't a team that you would look at and be like, oh, yeah, that team is going to the semifinals. I think they were a huge underdog coming into this tournament, and they really overachieved. And I'm really impressed with what Denmark has been able to do.
I do agree with you, Ryan. That's awesome from Denmark. I'm so happy for them, for the country as a whole, and for Christian Eriksen because he is okay and he's gonna do just fine. I do agree with you. Denmark, fantastic for them. But I think you boys know what I'm gonna go with. On this very podcast, on the preview for the Euros podcast, I said I cannot name one single North Macedonian player. Well, now I can. I have to read his name, but I can still name him. Goran Pandev. He is the guy who scored the first goal in North Macedonia's history in a major tournament. So, although North Macedonia did not get a win this tournament, they finally scored a goal, and then the next game they scored another goal. So that was cool. But it's going to go down in history. He's going to be remembered forever in North Macedonia. That's cool for him and his team and his family. That's a noteworthy tidbit I thought was just wholesome in this tournament.
That he will, Louis. And I'm going to go with an honorable mention before I say my actual one. My honorable mention, I thought that one of you two were going to go with it, but Jan Sommer saving Kylian Mbappe's penalty kick. I think that's one of the most iconic moments in Euro history right there, because France being such a huge favorite and their best player, Kylian Mbappe, steps up to take the fifth penalty. Typically, you want one of your better penalty takers to take your fifth penalty because that's one of the crucial ones. And Jan Sommer's there, able to stop it and able to lead the Swiss into the quarterfinals, excuse me. He had a fantastic tournament as a whole. I know Switzerland didn't. They only had 3 points the entire tournament in the group stage, and then they won on the last day to be able to get into that final 16. But I do think that Jan Sommer, he really earned his stripes there. And the Swiss actually got out of the round of 16 for the first time in what seems like forever, because it seems like every time that they get into the round of 16, they're drawn up against someone incredible, whether it be the World Cup or the Euros. I remember in the World Cup, they played against Croatia in the round of 16, and they lost in penalty kicks against, who was it, in Portugal. They played Portugal in the round of 16 in the last Euros, and they went on to win the whole thing. Then they played Argentina in the World Cup 2014 in the round of 16, and they played really well, but Angel Di Maria scored a last-minute goal in extra time to win that game for him. So great job for the Swiss. Hats off to them for having a fantastic moment in Euro history, as well as a very good tournament overall. But I'm going to go with my actual best moment of the tournament. Similar to what Ryan said, I'm going to talk about the Belgium and Denmark tribute to Christian Eriksen in the 10th minute. I thought that was really touching. Christian Eriksen was one of my favorite players of all time when he was with Tottenham. I had a little bit of a soft spot for Denmark just because of him. I really liked watching him in the Premier League week in, week out. Now that he moved to Serie A, I don't get to see him too much, and he doesn't even get on the field as much for Inter as well because of Antonio Conte's system. But I really like him, and what made it even more emotional and a much better moment is a lot of these players for Belgium are close with Christian Eriksen. They've been teammates with him in the past. They've been playing against him. I mean, you see guys like Vertonghen and Alderweireld who played with him with Tottenham, as well as Nasir Chadli. And of course, Romelu Lukaku plays with them right now. And then in his past at Tottenham, Yuri Tielemans played against him. Eden Hazard played against him. A lot of these players have very personal relationships. And of course, Courtois as well. But all these players have really personal relationships with a guy like Christian Eriksen. So to be able to, honor him after his cardiac arrest and his really scary moment, I think that was an awesome moment for everyone, not just Danes, not just Belgians, but for everyone, all football fans across the nation, really across the world, united in that 10th minute as everyone applauded Christian Eriksen. But anyway, that is all the time we have for today on today's show for the WSOU sports preview of Euro 2020 final, as well as the Copa America 2021 final. I've been your host, Jimmy Bliss, and alongside my panel of Ryan Johnson and Louis Pasculi, we thank you so much for watching. And of course, want to thank Heaven Hill, our producer for the show, sports director here at WSOU Sports. Really excited to see what the future holds with Heaven at the helm. And we're so glad that you were able to join us for today's show. So have a great rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your time here listening to WSOU Sports in the future.